All right, I want to welcome everybody to this training. This is the second training that we will be running on Medchart as it concerns pharmacy department of First Rivers Hospital. And this is basically for First Rivers pharmacy department staff, be it new, old, or whatsoever, irrespective of when you are employed. So long as you're among them that will be making use of Medchart, I want you to pay attention to this training because it will help us to broaden our knowledge. I know that we've been using Medchart for a very long time. When it comes to the issue of Medchart and stock control, it is still being it's still a challenge to manage our stock control. And one of the reasons why it's still a challenge is because most of the things that we're supposed to get right, we're not uh, still getting them right. So the essence of this training is to remind us of what we already know and to urge us greatly to do these things in the right way so that when the management bomb on us for audit, not for whatsoever, our record will be straight. Just as we said earlier in our subsequent training, the essence of the software is for record purpose, is to aid speed, and is to aid accuracy. So when we do things right, we'll be able to achieve these things maximally. So I'll be sharing my screen so that we'll go through the other parts of Medchart that we've not been able to cover. For this series of training, we are considering the dispensary, the pharmacy dispensary. Then subsequently, we'll go into pharmacy store. Or for now, pharmacy dispensary. And please, as you go through the training and you observe anything, you can drop your comment at the comment section so that whenever I'm reviewing it, it will help us go far. So let me quickly share my screen. All right, this is Medchart. I'll be logging into Medchart. All right. Okay. So the Medchart has opened and we've been considering dispensary. So we'll still go back to satellite pharmacy service. That's what we've been, satellite pharmacy service. I'm not good.
They say cut. Madam say make I come here, you say you no get. No get cut you like. So where I go finish get?
Again, me I not get. Right. So sorry for the interruptions. So sorry for the interruption. All right. Last time we've gone through this page. We look at stock entry. We look at new prescription. We look at patient drug ledger. Look at drug requisition. Uh, we also look at tally cards. Today we'll be looking at drug dispensing model. Drug dispensing model. Yeah, Prince. Okay. So sorry for the interruption. Uh, all right. So as I was saying, this is the pharmacy um, dispensing model. On the pharmacy dispensing model, there are a lot of features in here that we'll be looking at. A lot of feature in here that we'll be looking at. Now, if you look at this at the extreme left part of the page, you see serial number, you see pharmacy number. We all know this. This is where the prescription for the day is uh, is reflecting. So whenever we want to trace any pharmacy number has been posted by the doctor, be it from the ward, from any of the physician, be it from the general doctor, this is where the pharmacy number will appear, so long as it is posted to a particular date. And every prescription or every pharmacy number posted is always tied to a date. It's always tied to a date. Today is the 14th day of July, and this is the prescription. Sometimes when you open your Medchart for the first time, this is what how it looks, very blank, and it seems as if there is no prescription for the day, which is not true. So what you do at this point is you come to refresh incoming list. When you refresh incoming list, it's going to pop up all the prescription that has been made for the day that has not been totally dispensed out from the system. Last time we talked about how to trace the prescriptions, the ones that have been posted, the ones that have not been dispensed out, the one that has been dispensed out, and there we are looking at the tracking. Okay, let's close this page to make that review of that page. Okay, now this is it. You see this display prescriptions here. When you click on display prescription here, this incoming prescription will display, item not available will display, approved prescription will display, dispensed prescription will display. In our last training, I made mention of these features and how to effectively or maximally use them to aid our activities at the dispensary. So let me quickly display prescription for today. Now, these are the prescriptions for today. Last time, I also said that these incoming prescription are prescriptions that have been posted from any of the units by the doctor, and it has reflected in the pharmacy, but it has not been attended to. We've not approved, we've not approved the prescription. We should have not attended to it. So here it will appear we've not worked on the prescription. The prescription is just as fresh as it was sent from the doctor. Now these are items not available. These items not available are probably items or prescription that we've attended to, we've opened, we've approved. We've opened, we've approved. Probably we've dispensed one or two items from the prescription, but there are still other drugs that are not been dispensed from the prescription. It appears in items not available. Now, approved prescription. In approved prescription, here are prescription that we've looked at, we've approved. The drugs may or may not be available in the store. Then we'll look at dispensed prescription. And the dispensed prescription, here appears all the prescription that has been dispensed out for the day, not in totality. There are some prescription that are in this dispensed prescription. They still appear in the approved prescription. They still appear in items not available, and they are still in incoming prescription. That is because probably we've looked at the prescription, we've approved it, we've dispensed one or two items from it, we've worked on it, we've dispensed, we've edited the prescription, and we've dispensed one or two items from it. Those items dispensed from any of these prescription will appear in dispensed prescription. All right, hope I'm not too fast. So that is it for the day. And you can trace whichever date you want by coming to this date and changing the date to the date you want. Now let's look at yesterday, being 13th day of July. When you click on the date, you click on display prescription. It will now load. Now from the yesterday prescriptions, these are just 4 items or 4 prescriptions that was not dispensed out from the system. They were not attended to. Probably the drugs where the prescription were not edited, the prescription has not been approved by any of the technicians. Now you will now see most of the prescriptions are in dispensed. Majority of the prescription are in dispensed prescriptions. So this is the list for dispensed prescription. Now I quickly want to check out for something. Okay, good. 406. This is 406. This is 406 in dispensed prescription. This is also um for where are you? This is also 406, 19406 in approved prescription. Now, if you look at this prescription, it will tell you that this prescription has been attended to, some item has been dispensed. Now, approved prescription here are items that have not been dispensed out from the system in this prescription, items that have not been dispensed out from the system. But when you go here, you see the items from that prescription that has been dispensed out from the system. So in this case, this person was given Uzoma, was given Jingo Biloba, was given vitamin C, but vitamin E in this case was not dispensed to the patient. Either the vitamin E is not available, currently available in stock, or the vitamin E was not approved for the patient, or the patient is not yet due for the vitamin E. There are so many reasons why a prescription would be approved and not yet dispensed out from the system. Now, let's look at item not in stock. I want to check if the 406 is here. If the 406 is here. Okay, 406 is not there. 406 is not there. 406 is not there. So I wanted to check if 406 is there. 406 is no longer in items not available in stock. It has moved to approved prescription and dispensed the prescription. All right. So that's it for the prescription tracking and all that. Here I made mention of the of I made mention last time that here could be used as a reference purpose for the chief pharmacist to look at prescriptions that was prescribed for the day, why the drugs was not dispensed out from the system. Is it because of approval? Because some drugs in this place will be waiting for approval. So when you go to approved prescription, you see prescription that has been approved by the technician, but they were not dispensed out from the system. So you could be able to check to monitor if there is any prescription that was given to the patient but was not dispensed out from the system. Sometimes you could also trace the drugs that was also dispensed to the patient. Because if you go to the patient drug ledger, last time we also made use of patient drug ledger. If you go to the patient drug ledger, you see if the drug was actually dispensed or not. You don't know the quantity that was dispensed. You don't know the quantity that is remaining. You don't know the quantity that was returned. So this prescription tracking will give you a broad knowledge of or detail about that particular prescription. All right, now let's quickly move on to the drug dispensing model as we looked at it. So in the drug dispensing model, now this place is still blank. So you have to refresh to see the prescriptions for the day. Now these are all the prescriptions for today that has not been dispensed out or parts has been dispensed out. These things gives you prescription in all the categories, be it new prescription, be it not prescriptions not available, be it prescription approved, be it approved prescription, be it prescription uh, that has been approved probably was not given to the patient. Any prescription dispensed in totality, what I mean dispensed in totality is any prescription that all the drugs that are dispensed out from the system will no longer appear here. The pharmacy number or prescription number will no longer appear here for that particular prescription. So to find out the details of that prescription, you now have to go to the tracking of the prescriptions for the day. So now quickly, if you look at the down part of this, here basically shows the pharmacy number. You look at the serial number. Now you can also scroll. Look at this, scroll to give you the date of this, and you also scroll to see the pharmacy, the hospital number of this patient. To see the pharmacy number of this patient. So you can always trace your prescription by either the pharmacy number or the hospital number of of the patient. Sometimes you can also trace it by the date of the prescription. Now, if you look at these, there are 3 points here, three uh, uh, three three items here with dotted spaces. Now, this determines the categories of prescription you see in this incoming prescription. Now, here you see all patients. All patients include both the outpatients and both the inpatients. Now, to make things straight, peradventure, a prescription come from ward to the dispensary, and they've told you that this person is on admission. Instead of you looking for the number randomly, you could just click on inpatient. When you click on inpatient, it only displays prescription that was posted from the ward to the pharmacy. So now you can quickly search instead of you looking at this bulk prescription and looking for probably a patient uh, number, because sometimes the nurses come to the pharmacy and say, so drugs was posted for so person, we don't have the prescription number. So as such, once you've identified that this thing is coming from inpatient, you go to your inpatient and begin to click one after the other to check which name, the patient name and the drug. So when you click, it displays everything about the patient and the prescription, the quantity, and this thing tells you the details of the drug. When you look here, you see quantity. This quantity is the prescribed quantity. This quantity is the cost of the unit, the cost of the drug per quantity, and this is the stock level at the dispensary, the stock level of each of these drugs at the dispensary. So for now, you will see methyldopadomet is showing minus 336, and I know that is not correct, and that is one of the errors we're having when it comes to stock management. All right, now here I go specifically to outpatients. Now you can see that the outpatient number are bulk, more than the inpatient list of prescription. Here we have 38, while the inpatient we have just 7. In all, we have about 45 patients that the prescriptions are still pending. Either few has been attended to, not in totality. All right, that's about it. So you can easily click here to narrow down your search or to narrow down the group of people you are working with. Either you can decide to be working with basically inpatient, you can decide to be working with basically outpatients. All right. So that's about the list of prescription. Now about incoming prescription. Now another thing we want to look at from this menu is prescription. When you come to this down part, you see prescription. When you, this prescription, last time we looked at it when we talk about new prescription, you see prescription. When you look at the next item, you see edit prescription. This edit prescription is actually different from new prescription, from this prescription. This prescription is when you want to prescribe for this particular patient. You click on new prescription, a page will open. All right, this page has opened. Once you click enter, okay, I think this is basically for new prescriptions as well, just as it's where in the other page. So you come here and search for the name of the patient. Now after prescription, this is basically supposed to be for the doctors, but we also have an input here when we want to do prescription for a particular patient. Now, peradventure, let me close here and take us back. This is how to prescribe a drug for a patient. Um, how to prescribe a drug for a patient. Now, I'm closing this. At first, let me say that there are so many reasons why you may want to prescribe a drug for a patient. Probably because a drug was dispensed to the patient and the patient objected the drug and the drug was returned back to the system and the patient needed a different brand altogether. For the brand to be given to the patient, sometimes not to delay the patient, you must have given the patient the drug, but to keep your record straight and appropriate, you have to repost that drug for the patient. Now, let's say for instance, we want to post a drug for this patient, Steven Ituma, by MHS. Now, one of the easiest ways is to, instead of searching for the patient name, you can copy the hospital number. When you copy the hospital number, you go to prescription. When you go to prescription, You come here and paste the hospital number. It's not pasting. Okay, since it is not pasting, think we'll go to um the best way, since the prescription is still here, the best way is to click on edit prescription. But here basically is to post a drug for a patient, and this patient, when you, or whichever way, whenever you're posting a drug for a patient, what shows in the patient diagnosis, you could also amend it, but the patient details will be showing as walk-in patient, not as walk-in patient, a patient that just walk into the pharmacy and that doesn't see the doctor, because it is the doctor that is supposed to do this prescription, but because of to make things better for us and easy for us, you can actually prescribe for the patient. I've given you an instance or the reason why you could prescribe for the patient. Now, now if peradventure I want to add to this prescription page, probably the nurse came. This is actually inpatient, semi-private work. Probably this a staff came, a nurse came, and looking at the picture, a nurse say, "No, doctor also prescribed the nifedipine for this patient, and nifedipine is not there." So to get things right, what you now need to do is to add nifedipine to this patient's prescription. And the one way to do it is to go to edit. You go to edit. When you go to edit prescription, the patient drug ledger will open. You click enter. When you click enter, this is the already prescribed drugs. You now click on add new prescription. You are seeing this. Add items to prescription to see. Add items to prescription. You click on it. When you click on it, another page will open that will enable you add prescription to the page. Good. It is showing you invalid use of null. You click OK. You click OK. This is the page that will open. Not minding these drugs, or not minding that these were not all the drugs that was posted for this patient. You look at the next page and post the nifedipine for the patient. Nifedipine, and that goes to the patient drug ledger. Now, I haven't done this right. You've checked the prescription, the dosage, the strength is okay, the dosage regimen is okay, the frequency is okay, and the quantity is okay, the price is as well okay. You now click on submit. But for this, I wouldn't want to click submit, because if I click submit, it's going to alter uh, uh, the patient drug ledger. So I won't click submit. But if it is something we want to do, you just click on submit. This drug will be added to that same prescription number, not generating a separate number. It will only generate a separate number if you are not adding to prescription, but if you are doing a new drug prescription. Okay, I believe we've gotten that right. So having submitted, you now click close. When you click close, the drug will appear here. You now tick all again and click on update or approve prescription. It will now tell you if prescription successfully updated. And if you will click submit, it will tell you that one prescription successfully submitted. So that is it. We want to add a drug to a patient's uh, record that has not been dispensed from the system in totality. Even though you dispense other drug and one drug is remaining, you can also add or always add to that prescription. Now we want to close this and look at the next thing. Okay, we've looked at prescription, a new prescription to post a new drug for a patient. We've talked about the reason why we can do that. Though the policy of the hospital says that it's only doctor that is eligible to prescribe drug for a patient. But we've looked at the conditions that could warrant a pharmacy technician or the pharmacist post a drug against the patient's name. Now, another thing we'll be looking at in this is patient drug ledger. I think in our subsequent training, we've worked all this. So this training is more or less like a review. Now, approved prescription. When you click on a patient drug, like a patient prescription like this, and it opens, you could always tick here to approve prescription. If you have not approved a prescription, you may not be able to dispense out that prescription. So you click here and the prescription is being approved. Now left for you to dispense it out. Because you've approved this prescription, if you go to prescription tracking, it will appear on the list of approved prescription. It will appear in the list of approved prescription. Now, that's when we were doing um, uh, uh, the prescription check to track prescription tracking. So the next thing we'll be looking at is drug return. Please, this drug return is one of the essential parts of our training that will help us in drug control. In drug control, you see, this drug return helps us very well, and I want to plead that we should not joke with it. Drug return helps us very well, and I want to plead and plead again that we should not joke with it. Now, drug return is drug return is done when a drug was prescribed for a patient. It has been dispensed out from the system at the dispensary, and probably the patient couldn't exhaust the drug for inpatient. The patient couldn't exhaust the drug. The drug was returned. The doctor said no, the drug should be changed. The drug was discontinued and they should be changed to another drug. Uh, it is also worth returning. You have to return such drug because you dispense them out. Now, another reason why you could return a drug is when a drug comes from other units. For instance, you dispense cannula syringes to emergency, you dispense the 10 ml syringe, and the nurse came back and told you that no, it wasn't 10 ml syringe that I needed. So return the take the 10 mils and give me 5 mils. In that case, you have to go through the process of drug return and return the 10 mils while you now post the 5 mils and the quantity they needed, and as well dispense it out from the system. Now, the danger of not returning a drug that is dispensed is it will still show in your record that you gave the patient this drug. And if anything happens to the patient and the incident is tied to a drug, my dear, you will not be able to escape the wrath, because it will be assumed that you still gave a drug that was to be discontinued, or a drug that has been discontinued by a doctor. You still give that same drug to the patient to consume, and such it could be tied to the effects, that is the reactions that the patient may have had, probably from even other drugs. So it will be good for you to always return a drug. Now, another advantage of returning the drug is when you return a drug, it balances your stock level. It balances your stock level. It makes it easy for you to monitor your drugs and to monitor your stock. It also does it more good by balancing the bill of the patient, because when once you dispense a drug out from the system to a particular patient, the patient bill has started counting that he or she has consumed that drug from the pharmacy. So to ensure that everything goes well, you have to return that drug. When you return this drug, it reflects in your bin card, it reflects in your stock, your fiscal stock, as well your stock in the system. It also reflects in the patient bill. It also reflects on the patient bill. So it will be good that you return these drugs. Moreover, it gives you an accurate record of what you are doing on daily basis. Even in the store, we return drugs. Even in the store, we return drugs. Once a drug is pushed to the dispensary, and once a drug is pushed to the dispensary to see, and the dispensary will discover that there are more of that drug in the dispensary, we return it back to the store to balance our stock level. So it will it serves as a major tools for controlling our stock. So I plead that everybody should pay attention to how to return drugs, since we've been able to understand when it is necessary to return drugs. Most of the times, a drug is returned from the ward. When a drug is returned from the ward, I will want you to ask to ensure that um, all the drugs returned from the ward are tied to a patient so that you can do your return properly. If a drug is returned without good details about that drugs, it will be difficult for you to return, and as such, your stock won't balance. See, the truth is, there is always a positive and a negative part of your stock not being balanced. If your stock is excess, there could be a question is, does it mean that you've just been dispensing out from the system without giving these patients their drugs? If your drug is, if your stock is less, there will always be a question like, does it mean that you've been giving this patient drugs without you dispensing it out from the system? So it is a two-way thing, and I think it should be balanced for adequate record or proper record keeping. So let's quickly dive into the drug return. Now I'll click on drug return. Good. The page for drug return has opened. Because I was in a patient, I think we've done justice to this in our subsequent training anyway. So we may mention on drug return. So this is like a review and also like a refreshing training. So at this point, yeah, I think in the last training I used my name to do the drug return, to do a drug return, to do a drug return. Yeah, I used my name to do a drug return. So because I was already on a patient page, so you see the refill number, the pharmacy refill number of that particular prescription here. So when you click enter, the prescriptions uh, will come up. So this prescription is supposed to come up. Oh, I hope I'm connected to the network. So in this case, okay, let's say this is the patient, this is a private patient that want to work on and want to return the drug for this particular patient. We'll click on, we'll take note of the pharmacy number here. 533 is the pharmacy number. 19533. You click on drug return, and this page will pop up. When this page pop up, okay. I don't know why this is not coming up. Okay, it won't show because no drug has been dispensed out from this prescription. That's why it is not coming up. No drug has been dispensed out from this prescription. So for that reason, I will close. So I will now check drugs that are dispensed out today so that we can run the return. Let's go to um, let's go back to tracking our prescription. Let's go to display prescription. Okay, it's already on display prescription for today. It's 13th. Today's 14th. Let's run display prescription for today. All right, there's it. So let's look at dispense prescriptions here. Okay, this let's take note of the pharmacy number 19464. 19464 has been dispensed. So I will now go to drug dispensing model 19464. So 19464. This is it. So I want to return this drug. I'm clicking on return. So on this return page, I'll now click on Okay, yeah, 19 says for good. This is the page. I'll click enter. Now it comes up. Now, since it is up now, I will now look at quantity. This quantity signify the quantity that was dispensed out from the system. And as it remains like this, it is currently now the quantity that you want to return from, you want to return back to the system. So what you now do is you now begin to ask yourself, artimeter lumefantrine 6 was dispensed out, how many do you want to return? If you want to return the 6, you leave it at 6. If you don't want to return any, you leave it at 0. But if you want to return probably 3, you want to return 2, should in case this drug was dispensed to the patient has taken 2, the patient has taken 2 doses, remaining 4 doses, and probably the patient passed on, you can now return 4 to show that the patient 2 was dispensed to the patient only, or to show that the patient consumed only 2 tablets of the artemether lumefantrine. So you return 4. Now this is aquaclav. You want to return, you don't want to return because the patient took all. This is a 13 tablets. You want to return the 5 the patient couldn't take, or probably the patient took or reacted to it. The patient has taken the first dose but has reacted to it, so you return 4. Uh, this quantity now signify the quantity expectorant the patient couldn't take, so you return 1. Paracetamol the patient took all, so you are returning 0. Now this quantity signify the quantity you want to return in this prescription. And remember, all the drugs that is in this patient page that has been dispensed out, the quantity that has been dispensed out is the quantity that will initially reflect here. So you now have to edit it to determine the quantity you want to return back to the system. Having done this, you now click return. Once you hit on return, it will tell you that 4 or 5 prescription has been successfully returned to the system. So that's how it is. I think we've worked on it. This is just a walkover from what we did last time. So I'll be closing this now. All right. So that is about drug return. Drug transfer is not basically for us. Drug transfer talks about a doctor admitted, a patient came as outpatient, and drug was posted, but want to transfer this patient from outpatient to inpatient. You click on drug transfer so that this drug will now be charted in the patient inpatient or nurses chart as an inpatient. So we'll also look at the dispense item. This is that dispense item is where you hit. For instance, this is a prescription. All right, and you've ticked all. You want to dispense this quantity, and you could now click on print prescription label. There is a tick. If you want this prescription to print using a printing machine, you could click on print. If you don't want it to print, you untick the print, then you hit the dispense item. Once you dispense item, it will tell you that this item, line of item, it could be 4 items successfully dispensed from the system. Now you could also reprint your slip by clicking here. Peradventure something was wrong with the machine, you couldn't print, you could hit the reprint button, input. Now you hit the reprint button. This is the reprint button. If this is not the pharmacy number, you could input the pharmacy number you want to print. Let's look at 1964. Okay, 464. 464. Remember this prescription number. You click on refresh. Yes, yeah, do. It's not coming up. It's not coming up. Okay, let's go back. Okay, let's say we want to reprint this prescription. Click on reprint. This is the pharmacy number and all that. You click on refresh. When you click on refresh, it's taking a lot of time. It's supposed to come up here. When it comes up, you now click on print prescription label, it will be printed out or printed out. That's by the way. So that's it for this. I think looking at the dispensary, we basically exhausted um, everything that pertains to the dispensary. I mean, we are almost done with the training. Almost done with the training. All right. So the next thing that is supposed to be in our list is how to restore items not available, how to this entirely the satellite pharmacy service, everything we've done so far. Now, drug dispensing register. Here is where we look at drug that was dispensed. Hello? Hello? Calcium. We don't have. We have ceremonial drug. Yeah. So, just as it is, you want to track a particular drug that was dispensed for a day and all that. So if you check here, this is basically to the pharmacists, whosoever at a given point in time that is interested in monitoring our stock. All the tools are basically available here. You see total quantity dispensed, total amount dispensed, total amount paid, available balance, returnership bills, his and all that. So here it gives you the detail of a particular drug item. Now, we don't want to view all the items, but for now, let's quickly look at a particular drug. So we'll come here and we'll say refresh ledger. Having clicked on refresh ledger, we don't want to go into daily search. We don't want to go, okay, let's look at quantity of uh, uh, Cedarloot that was dispensed out today. So we'll click on daily search. It's taking a lot of time. 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 It's taking a lot of time to refresh. Okay, we don't have all the time to wait, so I'll close it. But what is basically here is just um when you click here, you type in the name of the drug you want to search, and it will pop up for you. When it pops up, you see the date, the pharmacy, hospital number, the name of the patient, the hospital number of the patient. This is the pharmacy number. This is the item that was dispensed, and this is the dosage regimen of that item. And this thing is mostly tied to individual patients. It's mostly tied to individual patients. So sometimes you could as well trace if a drug was given to a particular patient or not. It is indeed a helpful tool for everybody. So I encourage you to always trace the drug that uh, was dispensed to a particular patient at a given point in time. But eventually, you want to know the quantity of a drug that has been dispensed out to a particular patient for a period of time. If you go to the patient drug ledger, it won't give you the actual quantity that was dispensed out. If you come here, it will give you the quantity that was dispensed out, because there is a column here for there is a column here for the quantity that was dispensed. This is the column for quantity that was dispensed. Now this who dispensed it, dispensed by. So at this point you could also know, okay, who dispensed this drug to this patient. Peradventure, a drug was dispensed to a patient. The patient is denying it wasn't dispensed. You go to OS note, it wasn't recorded. And if you go to the patient drug ledger, it has been dispensed out. You could trace who actually made this error by coming to this page. So let's quickly close here. Another page we could go to is your purchase and sales. Purchase and sales. But this drug dispensing register is actually a perfect place to look at. Also, your tally is also a perfect place to look at. Let's quickly look at tally. Good. Tally gives you this your drug items here and the detail of a particular drug. Now let's look at Sedalud, Tizanidi. Now this is Sedalud. Good. Good. This is Sedalud, and this is the details of a Sedalud um, as per this. Okay, look at it from September. We're looking at from July now. Let's expand the date so that you see the date we're looking at. This from July. I think July. I don't know. This date is not properly arranged. This is 05 of July. This is sales. This is purchase. This is sales. These are the names of the patient that this drugs was given to for this period of time. Today is 14. That has been given to just a patient today, and the name of the patient is Emmanuel Jabel. Emmanuel Jabel is the name of the patient. Quantity that was dispensed out to the patient, look at it, issued quantity 28, and your balance is showing 123. So your balance in stock. So this is the voucher number, dispensary 22 and order. This it was dispensed by Good Luck, and this is the reference number. Now, these things could be achieved here when we are running a test or when the management want to run a test. These are the tools they will use to monitor your dispensing or dispensary activity. The pharmacist from time to time could also run a check through these tools to ensure that things are done the right way. Things are done the right way. So when the patient is arguing, oh, so quantity of drug wasn't given to me, so quantity, this is actually the right place to get this thing done for the patient. Okay, that's from the tally. Had it been this drug dispensing register open, it would have been a perfect place for we to look at. It would have been a perfect place for we to look at. Operation is not allowed when the object is closed. I don't know what you mean by that. Okay, now let's look at that Sedalud. Let's look at Sedalud. Sedalud. I don't know. Is it network? I don't know. I can't understand. Okay, since you can't go through here, let's close here. Now, purchase and sale as well gives you another detail or detail of. You come here, you first search parameter and come to click on the drug you want to search about. Same drug, we're looking at the same drug. Oh, they specify the satellite pharmacy. Okay, you come here, this is the satellite pharmacy, the pharmacy you want to search for. We're not searching for kitchen, we're not searching for account, we want to search for OPD satellite pharmacy. So this is the record for say download for OPD satellite pharmacy. Now let's look at today's date. Let's look at today's date. Okay, today is 14. You know, in the other page, it gives us one sales, but currently another sales has been added. Currently another sales has been added. This was the first sales, this is the second sales. So here we look at the quantity 28 was given to this particular patient. So um, this is the sales quantity, this is the cost of sales, um, this is the profit entitled to each of the sales, and this is the sales, the name of the patient that the drug was dispensed to. This is the name we saw in the initial prescription. This Alon Martins, which was also dispensed. The dispensing was done as well by Good Luck. So this gives us the detail about a particular drug. Now, what is the balance of these drugs? Here we couldn't get um we couldn't get the stock balance. Here we couldn't get the stock balance. Here only tells us the sales and how the drug was purchased. It didn't give us the balance. So we looked at where we'll check to get the balance. The tally gives us the balance of the drug or the supposed balance of that drug uh, currently in stock. The Here is the purchase and sales couldn't give us this record. So the drug dispensing register could give us the record. Tally card could give us the record of the balance drug item. I think with this, we are done with dispensary activities. So in our subsequent training, we will now be looking at in our subsequent training, we'll now be looking at still in satellite pharmacy, we'll now be looking at challenges that we all face um, while or during dispensing of drug or while carrying out our daily activity at the dispensary So I want you to comment at the end of this video if there is anything you observe, if there is something you couldn't understand, comment, and then more details will be sent to us that pertains to this training. I want to say thank you very much for this opportunity. Please do well to go through other trainings that are not covered in this training section. Thank you and God bless you.